Can I be found intentionally homeless from a Section 21 no-fault eviction? Now, it might seem like a question which is obvious, you know, surely if it's a no-fault eviction you can't be found to be responsible or at fault for it. But as we'll see in a minute, there are some cases which show that you can very much be found intentionally homeless. It depends on how the eviction happens and kind of what causes the landlord to take that action. Now, there's a couple of cases which are relevant. So there's Bratton v Croydon and there's Najim v Enfield that I'm aware of. There's probably plenty of others as well. I'm going to talk about Najim because it's slightly more interesting. Basically, there was a couple who were privately renting. They had some issues with their property, so there was a fence panel or something that was damaged, there was a washing machine that wasn't working, and I'd guess that what they'd done is talk to the landlord and asked them to do the works, and the landlord had, in their opinion, been pretty slow to do it. So they took it upon themselves to do the works themselves, and they subtracted the amount they spent on that from the rental amount that month. So there were a few £100s in arrears, and the landlord, for whatever reason, you know, obviously wasn't very patient, so basically took steps to evict them through the Section 21 process. And I think in the court paperwork, the landlord had said that the reason was a change in circumstances of the landlord. They didn't go into any detail about it. And the eviction took place. The couple became homeless and they made a homeless application to the council. And obviously Enfield got to the point where they were inquiring into intentional homelessness, and my guess is they spoke to the landlord. And basically the landlord would have told them, well, actually the reason for me evicting them was they hadn't paid the rent. And the landlord had then immediately moved new tenants into the property. So it wasn't that the landlord had done it so that they could move in themselves or sell the property or something. They'd done it specifically because they weren't happy with these tenants not paying the rent. And the council was found to have correctly found they're intentionally homeless, which might seem quite harsh, but it's just a real lesson in how harsh the housing law can be and how careful you want to be about, you know, not paying the rent or taking action. I mean, I've worked with quite a few people who withhold the rent from a landlord as a way of getting the landlord to do stuff, and actually, as we see in these cases, it's a very bad thing to do, very bad idea, because it can lead you to be evicted, and not only be evicted, it can lead you to be found intentionally homeless. So it's just kind of really worth bearing in mind. You're very careful. There are some kind of avenues that you can go through legitimately, so you can go to the council's environmental health team if there are serious issues with the property, or you can just put things in writing. But what you don't want to do is step outside of the legal obligations you've got in the signed tenancy, which says you have to pay X amount every month. So that's just something worth bearing in mind. And now, if you find this stuff useful, do check out our weekly Q&A live stream every Thursday evening, or most Thursday evenings. Sometimes it's a Wednesday or a Friday. Basically, if you submit any question in any comments on the channel, I'll see them and I'll take them to the live stream, and if we can answer them, we'll give it a good go. Or you can tune in at 7:30 and you can ask the questions live. Sometimes it's a bit better to do that because often our first response will be to clarify the situation or kind of ask more questions to work out what the situation actually is. But yeah, if you subscribe to the channel, you get automatic notifications for that, as long as you select the notification bit. So if you click on the subscribe button, there's a little drop down, and if you just click all notifications, you'll get a notification every time a new video is uploaded or the live stream happens. So it's just worth doing it for that reason. But yeah, hopefully this stuff helps.